Hey everybody, thank you for joining. This is a very popular topic. I think we just broke the record for the number of registrations with this topic. We usually have more than 100 people registered, but I think we've doubled that figure.
Everybody wants to jump on the AI train. That's good.
Yeah, I think most of the people who registered here are already somehow on the train. I think we're all looking for ways to use it better and to our advantage.
Exactly.
So we were just joking before that every time we schedule a webinar around AI, something major happens in the industry. Like the first one we had, it had the first major outage. So I'm just checking, by the way, I hope you can see my screen. There is this link, status.openai.com. And for those of you who are actively using ChatGPT, you can, check it out here to see if it's operational. There was a small outage yesterday, 18 minutes. Today, everything looks fine. So we hope all throughout the webinar, it's going to be up because we're going to use it for sure. It's going to be a really hands-on presentation, so we're going to go through some prompts together. So the first time it was that major outage. The second time we had a webinar around this topic, the CEO got fired. Eventually he got back. So and this time I'm sure some of you know about the news that got in yesterday, the Neuralink chip that was implanted to a human being, and we're curious to see the results. So major things happening out there. So it's 01 right now. I believe we should get going because there are many things we'd like to touch upon. So funny thing first, this is the introductory slide that was generated by my colleague Loredana with DALL-E for this event in particular. As you can see, this was the initial one that was generated. If you have played around with generating images through DALL-E and ChatGPT, you know that the text into those images always appear iffy. So there are some workarounds. I know Loredana used Canva to edit this. So this is one initial tip. So we have this internal joke. Daniel, my colleague, always uses thank you and please when talking to ChatGPT. So this is the first advice we'd like to give you. If you want to be one of the chosen ones when the robots will take over and, start a war with the human race, if you're going to use please and thank you, you will be spared by the consequences. But other than that, let's move further to the most interesting parts of today. So first of all, just a bit of introduction for those of you who haven't attended our previous events or don't know us. We are Oana, Daniel, and Loredana from NNC Services. We are a marketing consulting company based in Eastern Europe, in Romania, with offices all throughout the world. We've been working for more than 16 years with companies, especially in the IT B2B industry. But most of the things we are going to present today are applicable in pretty much every industry. So with this being said, I'm a managing partner at NNC. I'm a huge fan of AI and using tools in our day-to-day work. Just a small disclaimer from the start. We are going to present today from the perspective of average daily user. The topic is how to prompt ChatGPT for marketing and sales. Today, I am the marketing person, and Daniel is the salesperson. So we are not developers. We are not prompt engineers, although both me and Daniel have attended some quite extensive prompt engineering trainings. But I would say most of the things we are going to share with you today are based on our day-to-day work, our own and our colleagues who are working with hundreds of customers in the industry and are using ChatGPT for marketing and sales projects. So let's get going. Daniel, would you like to also say something to our crowd here?
For sure. Hey, everyone. And first of all, thanks for joining. We have a big crowd and people are still gathering, as I'm seeing over here. Exactly like Oana said, we are going to showcase today prompts that we use and tactics that we use day to day, and it's not going to be some rocket science, because I strongly believe that ChatGPT can be used by everybody. We're going to take it slow, and clearly, even after the webinar, we are here for any type of support in this domain.
Thank you, Daniel. And also we are hoping to have this as interactive as possible. Feel free to use the chat window while we are talking to, just share your ideas, perhaps share your own tips. We don't know it all, so we'll be glad to learn from you as well. So just a brief introduction in today's agenda. We're going to go through some general figures because we got some questions from people who registered to this about what is the general impact, what's happening out there with ChatGPT in marketing and sales, some interesting figures and statistics. I'm not going to bore you too much with that. We're just going to take, the most important part to use further on in our conversation. We're going to talk about the essentials of prompt engineering for ChatGPT, because no matter what you are using it for, if it's, marketing, sales, your own personal development, daily work, financial, and so on, there are some general rules who apply to all, and many people don't know them. Then we're going to talk about what's specific in crafting prompts for marketing. There are some things which are really, really particular to people using ChatGPT for marketing and sales. I'm going to walk you through some, let's say, most used favorite marketing prompts our team use in marketing, and Daniel is going to walk you through some sales prompts. And don't worry, you don't have to take notes. We are going to share with you afterwards all the prompts, the presentation, and the links to ChatGPT's results. So let's get going and talk about some interesting figures. So first of all, right now, ChatGPT has reached about 180 million users at the moment, from more than 1 year since it started becoming so popular. It is well known that it was, the first one who reached 100 million users in a very, very short time, in just 5 days. And it was, overtaken by Instagram Threads last year that reached 100 million users in just 2 days. So, you can see the major impact it has. Most of us use it, especially in professional services, on a daily basis, the free version or the paid version. Just one quick disclaimer, everything that we are going to present with you, most of them, I think with just a couple of exceptions, you can use in the free version, but we are going to demo it on the paid version, because this is where you will get the best results for. So there is a huge adoption rate, obviously. Now, what are marketers using generative AI for? These are some figures from May 2023. It hasn't changed a lot since now. Most of them are using ChatGPT for basic content creation. Obviously, we're talking about generative AI, so text in particular, content which is text, but also pictures, images, to write copy, to inspire creative thinking, to analyze market data, especially big data, and to generate asset images. So this hasn't changed much. Now, there are many other trends and statistics out there. I believe these figures have gone up. We are still waiting for the most recent, studies who are covering the entire 2023. But these are somehow from half the year, from June last year. So I'm pretty sure this went up. 23% of marketing professionals in organizations use AI. In IT, it's more than half. There are some very interesting figures here. Like I said, we're going to share with you so you can take a closer look to them. But the general trend and the general idea is that adoption is growing. And as things get refined and new tools come up, more specific tools, whether, oriented towards a vertical market or towards a very specific task, people are starting to adopt them in most organizations. Oh, by the way, also, perhaps some of you know that recently ChatGPT just launched their team pricing package. So you are able to purchase its plus version for teams as well. Previously, they only had the enterprise version. This is from McKinsey, another chart that shows what marketing and sales use ChatGPT for in particular. So crafting first drafts of text documents, personalized marketing, and summarizing text documents. So most of the prompts and the ideas we are going to share with you today are around those topics. Okay, and now we are going to put some basis. So first of all, I'm sure some of you have heard recently about prompt engineering. It sounds quite fancy, but apparently this is one job title that is going to become quite popular in the following years. There are a lot of prompt engineering courses out there. There are major universities who are starting to build, courses and specializations for these titles. So I'm pretty sure over the next few years, we're gonna see many people looking to become a prompt engineer or to specialize in this area. And just to put, like an official definition here, prompt engineering is the art and science of designing and refining prompts in a way that effectively guides the AI model to the desired outputs or responses. So basically what we are trying to do and what we are going to share with you today is just this, give you a bit of art and science about how you can refine your marketing and sales prompts in order to get closer to your desired outputs. There are some general rules for effective prompt engineering or, for just prompting. So first of all, clarity and specificity. So use clear, specific instructions. Second of all, a simple language. Avoid complexity and ambiguity. So try to talk to it as you would talk, to a colleague. Some even recommend it to put it in very simple terms, closer to a 10-year-old or so. The third one is contextual information. This is really important, and especially because we've seen a lot of questions from people who registered that asked, how can we make it, more unique, more original, less AI sounded, more human sounding? This is where you can really make the difference. So from the contextual information you provide, you're going to have an output that's more personalized. Fourth, tone setting, and I'm going to give you some tips and tricks around that. Indicate the expected tone and style. This is something many people forget, and you'll see there are several tones, many of them, most of them we forget, but I'm also going to show you a tip on the workaround on how you can set up a tone even though you don't know what is it called. Logical sequencing. arrange questions, instructions logically, and I'm going to show you a recipe about how you can do that. Example use. This is very important. Incorporate examples for guidance. No matter what the output is if you have a model or a benchmark, that's always going to help ChatGPT to generate the output closer to what you are looking for. Conciseness. Keep prompts brief and to the point. And also another thing I would like to add, when working with ChatGPT, this is one common mistake we saw. When you are starting a new conversation, it's important to keep one topic per conversation. Many people open up a conversation and they start asking questions about different topics in the same conversation. So keep them straight to the point and brief. Iterative refinement. Refine prompts based on responses. If you don't know the entire flow recipe or what you would like to find out from the beginning, make sure you give or you ask extra information, or you just ask for more. So this is one of the first and few occasions we have in life to actually ask for more, and we get more. So use that as much as you can. AI capabilities awareness. You have to understand what AI can and cannot do. There are some general rules you can read on the ChatGPT website. You will see that it is trained on certain types of data. The free version doesn't have the ability to browse, and it's only trained up to a certain moment in time. And also you have to be aware that it has these side effects, hallucinations, and especially when we are producing content that's really sensitive or really important for you or for your audience, it's always good to cross-check. So if you are unsure of what you are getting, just make sure you are also researching Google to see whether really things are accurate. And testing and learning, experiment, try to use it on a daily basis. It's like, with any type of activity that you are learning and trying to improve from day to day. As much as you use it, more things will come up and more things you will learn. Now, there is this not so secret formula about how you should actually write a prompt in ChatGPT. This is, let's say, a summary from most prompt engineering trainings. So, first of all, make sure the task is clear. The task is usually starting with an action verb, with something like generate, give, write, analyze, give me whatever, and clearly articulate what your end goal is. The second thing that's important to be included in the prompt is the context. And like I said, this is really what makes a difference. However, this is also the trickiest to get right, because technically there's an infinite amount of information you can give. And I noticed that there are some questions that you can ask yourself in order to clarify what the context is. And these are: what's the user's background? What does success look like, and what environment are they in? And give just enough information to constrain, the possibilities, because, there are endless possibilities. So don't overshare, but make sure you have all the right context in order to get the right output. Exemplars, well, this is, just a fancy way of saying examples. You can use things like use the X framework, use this as a model, like AIDA, for instance, when it comes to content. Persona, and this is really key, especially in marketing and sales. So who you want ChatGPT or Bard or another generative AI solution to be. So think of someone you wish you had instant access to based on what you are requesting. Like, for instance, an experienced marketing manager with more than 20 years of experience, or even your persona, the persona you are targeting with your business, if you really want to be in their shoes or really want to produce content that's appealing for them, this is the time where you can use your persona best. If you don't have your personas for your business already defined, you can use tools like Make My Persona from HubSpot, or you can even use ChatGPT to build your persona before you start sending out prompts to produce content or to help with any type of marketing and sales activity. So this is crucial. You need to have your persona well defined before you start, using any type of prompt. The format. And here is also something that's usually overseen. So literally close your eyes and imagine how exactly you want the result to be. Many of us, have different types of ways we consume the content, or we would like to see the replies from ChatGPT. I would say the standard, and I'm pretty sure many of you know if you have used ChatGPT, you get all those paragraphs. If you get really specific and you ask ChatGPT something like, output this in a table format with these column headers, or output this in the form of an email, or use bullet point or paragraphs or markdowns and so on, you will get the format you want. So depending on the way you would like to see the content or its further usage, like for instance, if you know that what you're getting from there, you are going to input in a Google Sheet or into a spreadsheet in Excel, make sure you mention the format and that you want it into a table format. And last but not least, the tone. Tone is easy, to understand, but there are, so many. So a pro tip is actually to tell ChatGPT the feeling you are trying to achieve with that piece of content. Like, for instance, if you are trying to draft an email that you want to be taken seriously, by your team or by your customers, just mention that. Mention the feeling I would like to get from this is this. But if you really want, and I had a small graphic here, but I can find it right now. I think it's later in the presentation. There are some lists you can find out there, and there's one from SEMrush in particular with all the tones available. So you can pick out from those and include into the prompts. Now, there's another thing that many people don't know. There are several modes you can use ChatGPT. The most common one is the question and answer mode. So something like, what are the best digital marketing channels to target HR managers in software companies based in the US is, a simple question. Obviously, you can make it even in more detail. So I think I'm going to open ChatGPT right now and try to copy paste some of this just so you know how it works. You can tweak this around. Like, for instance, I can leave it as such, or I can put something extra like answer in one sentence. And especially when you are in a hurry or when you want something really specific, what you notice is that ChatGPT starts giving you all this background information. So if you really want something that's clear and straight to the point, like in this case, just add answer in one sentence. If you haven't done that, you would get an entire list of examples. So this is the Q&A mode. Just ask a question and you will get a reply. The second mode is the instructional mode. So this is where we give ChatGPT a clear task. And that's usually when we try to produce, in marketing and sales, when we try to produce a more extensive piece of content or a text that we are going to use in a certain activity. So let's see how it goes. I'm gonna take this prompt. And by the way, very important, in order to have things more organized, so you can see I have ChatGPT Plus here. It's really crucial to use this rename function, and because otherwise it would be really hard for you to find in the entire list. So I'm going to name this something like, Q&A mode, just so I can find it later on. Now, because there is a new topic, I'm gonna open up a new conversation and include the prompt here. Write a 600 words blog post about HR software as a service trends in 2024. This is like the most simple, very basic thing you can do in terms of instructions. Now, like I said, if you give more context, if you give examples, if you give information for SEO optimization, obviously you are going to get more. Let's go back. The third mode, then this is really interesting, especially for salespersons. Role-playing mode. This is the mode where you can do a bit of role play. This is crucial, and Daniel will tell you more later on. If, for instance, you would like to exercise negotiation with a potential customer, or even for customer service companies or people or departments who are trying to role play a certain key activity when it comes to customer support. So I'm going to take this prompt and I'll show you how it goes. Obviously, you can customize this based on your own needs, your own ideas of role playing and what you need to use it for. So I'm going to open up a new conversation. Okay, and now what he's doing is starting to conversate with myself. So I'm going to start answering and give more information, and then ChatGPT is going to ask me more questions, and based on that I can actually role play a real situation. Like I said, this is really useful, especially in negotiations for salespeople. Then we have the discussion mode, where you can just open up a discussion around various topics. This is an example about how to discuss strategies to improve our marketing efforts for a new line of eco-friendly home products. Obviously, you can adapt it on whatever you want. As a marketer, this is really useful, for instance, when you are building a marketing strategy, or you really need new ideas about how you can go around the next year and so on. And if you don't have the opportunity to do this with your own team, you can use this to practice with ChatGPT. What's even more interesting, you can actually simulate a discussion with a specific person. So if you put before this prompt something like, act like the marketing manager of IBM, or act like Warren Buffett, or act like Steve Jobs, you are going to be able to discuss all these subjects with a fictional character or a real one. And it's going to give you some very interesting hands-on ideas. Then you have the simulation mode. You can simulate a discussion, for instance, for customer service, an angry customer, or you can simulate any other thing that's going to be useful for you as a marketing specialist or salesperson. Even internal things like how to manage your team, or how to give feedback to one of your employees, and so on. The brainstorming mode, the sixth one, it's also very useful when you would like to generate a plethora of information around the specific topic. As much context as you give, and as much as you refine through iterations what you are trying to get, the more you will get when it comes to new ideas. And now I'm going to share with you some of the most interesting prompts we have been using internally in our projects for marketing, and just a few more general things. When using ChatGPT for marketing, there are some specific rules. Some of them I've mentioned, but I would like to recap a bit. Consider your target audience. So always include your target audience when you are doing a marketing script. If you have your persona at hand, sometimes the easiest way is to copy paste it there, or just put a link to it if you have it somewhere online, and ask ChatGPT to analyze it before you start writing the prompts. Add your brand personality. Like, for instance, when you are building content for your company, it's really helpful to include perhaps a link to your brand manual if it's available online and if it's browsable by ChatGPT, or just the general things like the color scheme or the tone and so on. It helps to make the content more adjusted to your company's expectations. And third, measure success. By the way, one thing we always do, for instance, when building up content, we also ask ChatGPT to suggest what would be the best way to measure the success of that particular piece of content, or what we could expect if we are posting it on XYZ social media channel. So don't forget to ask for that, and don't forget to actually measure it. One thing we do is we do A/B testing with various types of prompts with our customers. We also do A/B testing between AI-generated content and human-generated content, and I strongly encourage you to do that. So make sure you always test it and see what you get in terms of results. Oh, this is the slide I was mentioning. The tone of voice. This is one from SEMrush. I love it. Most of us know the ones from the top on purple: funny, serious, formal, casual, irreverent, respectful, matter of fact, and enthusiastic. But there are so many nuances below that you can use, like provocative, or nostalgic, or conversational, and so on, that you can include into the prompts. And this will help you, just give a little bit of twist and just make it a little different from the other types of content that it produces in general. This is another rule that's usually used in prompting for marketing. But before I go into more details, I like to just pause for a few seconds and see if we have any questions.
Yeah, Oana, there's a few questions in the chat pane, some of which I tried to address. For example, there's a question of, do you need to enter prompts as you have listed them, or can you mix and match, for example, tone first and content last?
There are some, well, in prompt engineering trainings, they say that the order in which you put the information into the prompt influences the result. However, oh, I think I was muted. However, in real time, we don't always get to do that. Sometimes we're in a hurry. We don't have the time to make that, perfect prompt. So you can definitely mix and match, and you can definitely use, further iterations. If you realize that you haven't mentioned the tone at the beginning, obviously, once you get a result, you can put another iteration and ask ChatGPT to rewrite this, please, by using humorous tone, for instance, and you will get another version and just go from there.
Yeah, and there was also a question if the slides will be available, and both the slides and the recording will be available for the registered users.
Yeah, absolutely. You're gonna get them. Don't worry. So going back to the create rule, this is actually the order in which most prompt engineering trainings suggest things to be inputted. So first of all, character. Define the character. And I know many of us forget this. Assign a role to ChatGPT and be really specific with things like, you are a digital marketing expert with 10 years of experience, or you are an HR manager in a small and medium company in Eastern US. Things that are really, really specific. So assign a role first if you would like to get the content or the reply or whatever you are asking for from that perspective. The second one is the request. Make a very clear request. So clearly state what you need with things like create, give, build, write, and so on. So an active verb. Create a detailed digital marketing plan focusing on social media for a new health product. The third one are the examples. So give examples. Refer to successful campaigns like those of brand X and Y for inspiration. And this is where ChatGPT Plus will actually start browsing the web. Or you can actually put in a specific link with something like, check out this company's strategy or this website, or check out this article where there is a lot of interesting advice around building a marketing strategy. So this is where you can put all the examples. Additions, specify adjustments. So you can refine your prompt by specifying what needs to change. Once you get the initial output, you can do a lot of iterations. So with things like include more statistics, I need more real data, I need more examples, more case studies, make it shorter, longer, more specific, and so on. This is where you can change the output quite a lot. The type of output, like I mentioned, specify the format. Most of us forget it, and we only get those long paragraphs from ChatGPT. You can actually ask, present this as a structured document with headings for each section, including objectives, target, or present this as a table with this many columns and so on. So specify the output and include extras for clarity, the last one. You can, for instance, add a bit of training here for ChatGPT, like ignore my previous questions about B2C. This is only focused on B2B, or anything extra that you think would be helpful. This is where you can actually include it. And now let's get going with some very specific prompts. Here are some we use very often for market research or before we start building strategies. And I'm gonna take this one with product details. And I would love to use it for a very specific product. So if anybody would like to share in the chat window their own product, this is the time where you can do it, and we can actually do it for you. Or I'm gonna, okay, Luminar's controller. Okay, let's take this one, Christy, thank you. So I'm gonna move over to ChatGPT. Like I said, open up a new conversation, and in the product luminaires controller. Okay. And now, this is the prompt that's going to build a target persona, target audience persona for this specific product that Christy Zarzalin had put into the chat window. So, Christy, how do you think this goes? Is it close to what you were expecting? I think Christy went silent. Or you are still waiting for it to finish?
I just asked him to unmute. Maybe he can come off mute.
It's okay. Hello.
Hi, Christy.
Not exactly
Okay.
as I wanted.
Okay. What do you think is not as you wanted?
Because I needed to go to present my product to municipality
Okay.
or to city managers or to some.
Do you think the name of the product was right here? Did I put it right? Or is it a specific
noodles,
brand?
controller noodles.
Controller noodles.
Yeah.
Okay. I will try to make another one. And I'm going to change the name here. So can you spell it out for me? Control. Christy, can you hear me? Can you say the name again? Okay, I think you're breaking out.
Yeah, he's off mute, but apparently he can't. We
Okay.
can.
So just for the sake of finding, okay, luminaire controller. Okay, haven't heard about this one.
Sometimes it's useful if we have a landing page, especially while using ChatGPT 4, it can go browse the product page that we're referring to and find out clearly more information.
As you can see here, it actually didn't identify it as a clear product, and it says is likely a product used to control lightning fixtures. So if you have like a link to a page where this product is described, that's the best way to go around it. And I'm actually going to show you in another one, and I'm going to put here something like, let's say, colorful.hr. This is one of our customers. And this is a very clear product, a software as a service HR product. And now I'm going to paste it. So from my knowledge of the product, around the product, this is really closer to their target. They're targeting HR managers, and you can see they identified them with, the age and so on. However, like Daniel said, if you give more information beforehand regarding the product, so a clear link to it, or even you can upload here a document with a description and so on, the more information it has beforehand, the more accurate this persona would be. The next one, the next prompt we are using is competitor analysis, and I'm not going to showcase it to you right now, but you will have access and you can test it. This is one thing that we are using quite often in competitive analysis. Most of the people just put links to their competitors and analyze it from that, but we noticed that if you use some not so obvious things like their reviews, you get more out of the box replies. So if you have a list of your competitors, check out the internet first and find some of the reviews you find on Google, or maybe on some of the general websites where you can find reviews for products, and summarize those either into a document by yourself or just save the links for ChatGPT. And then you can put this into a prompt, and based on the pros and cons it discovers in all the reviews, you can ask ChatGPT to build a very specific competitive analysis, and further on you can actually use the feedback to build a digital marketing strategy. So I'm going to let you test this around. Oliver is asking, do you have a prompt for this? Yeah, that's actually the prompt. You would just have to fill it out with the list of the actual reviews. So either you have the list or just put the links to them, and then you can run the prompt by yourself. Okay,
we have another question, Oana, if you want to
Sure.
have a
Absolutely.
I mean, tech sales, what's the best prompt to use for getting new clients? I guess Daniel will address that in his session. Yeah, okay.
Exactly.
Good.
You don't want to give a sneak peek right now.
Nope.
So wait till the end and you'll get the answer to this. Daniel is going to answer this.
Exactly.
Here's another very useful and simple prompt. Create once, distribute forever. I'm sure many of you already have marketing materials, blog posts on your website, your company website. And one thing many of us don't do is reuse that content. So once you have a piece of content, just ask ChatGPT to write as many social media posts as you want about, I don't know, the blog post or the white paper and so on. And then you can schedule them in a calendar in your own social media tool or whatever you are using for managing and so on. We have another question here from Victor. Is ChatGPT only functional in English? No, it's not. It works best in English. And most of our consultants are using it primarily in English because it gets the prompts easier, and it was actually trained mostly on English content, but you can use it in whatever language you want and it will translate. What I would recommend is when you are searching for an output, use the prompts in English. Once you get the output, then translate it at the end. So that's usually how we do it. What's the difference between the free ChatGPT and the paid version? Okay, and what is the time of the data based on the free and the paid version at the moment? Yes, April 2023. You have that right. Okay, the main difference is the 3.5 is it doesn't browse the web. First of all, that's the the major idea. It gives you very simple replies. ChatGPT 4, it's more nuanced, more advanced, and most importantly, it browses the web. That's the major difference between them. Some other things are apparently the free version is more prone to hallucinations than the paid version. So if you are using the free version, make sure you double check and cross check all the output. And also another important thing, you cannot use images, for instance, and I'm going to show you later on a prompt for image analysis. So you can only do text, questions, and paragraphs. In the paid version, you have here, and I'm going to show you this attachment icon, and you can attach documents or pictures that you can use into the prompt. So Sylvia, I hope I answered to your question. Okay, so Let's move further. Oh, this is the image analysis. So this is one thing you cannot do with the free version, and I'm gonna show you right now. This is very interesting and neat. You can actually insert a picture and ask ChatGPT to analyze it. And in marketing, you can use it specifically when it comes to design, like analyzing a website's design, or if you want to analyze if a certain picture is, appropriate in a marketing material or for a paid ad on LinkedIn. So what I'm going to do is go to this website. These are our customers. And I'm going to do a print screen. Okay, just a second. I have to close all the others before I do that. Okay. Here it is, and I have a print screen. And now I am going here and just copy paste the picture. I can actually use Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V, or you can download it on your computer and attach it here. And now I'm going to use the prompt, which is this one. This is the above the fold section of the homepage of our website. We're selling managed IT services and are looking to improve the design to increase engagement and conversion rate. Give me tips and tutorial on how to do this. And I'm going to hit enter. So normally, in order to do this, you would need to spend quite some time to look at the website, to ask a website designer, to talk to a copywriter, and so on. But you can do this with ChatGPT, and it's amazing how interesting and accurate it gets when it comes to replies. Like, for instance, you can see here, tips to improve the design. Clarify your value proposition. Make sure the text on the page clearly communicates the value of your managed IT services. Find freedom in the cloud is a good start, but consider adding a subheading that elaborates on how your services provide that freedom. So you see how really specific it goes when it comes to details. In terms of design, for instance, the CTA button. The Get Started button is good, but make sure it stands out with a contrasting color. For this page in particular, you can see that this white CTA is not so obvious. So you could consider putting it into red or something that's, maybe orange, that's complementary to blue. So you really get some very, very interesting hands-on advice for an image. I saw some other tutorials online, especially when you have pictures with text in it, for instance, and you don't have the time to analyze it. You just put that picture in there and ask ChatGPT to extract the text. Or I saw it used on a day-to-day basis on things like if there's a sign on the street and you have the intervals of the hours where you can park, and there's a lot of information and you're not sure if you can park there or not, just take a picture, put it into ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT and say, today is Wednesday at 3 p.m. Am I allowed to park here or not? It's going to give you that answer. So there are a lot of interesting uses you can have for analyzing pictures. This is one of the funnest part. Email marketing. Write 10 conversion-focused email subject lines based on the following email. And I'm going to give you an example with actually one of the emails you got from Daniel. If you registered to this webinar, you got a lot of reminders from Daniel. And I'm going to copy pasted it here. Oh, and this is the interesting part. I don't know if you got it when you were using ChatGPT. Sometimes it looks like this. You start getting two types of responses. This is something they do in order to better refine the engine and to make sure that it's closer to what you are looking for in terms of output. So this is one of the occasions you have where you can provide this feedback. So make sure if you are clicking on the one that you like best, make sure that you are providing this feedback. And also here you have another window where you can provide some extra ones with things like, I like it because it's shorter, or because it's more clear, or because it has emojis, and so on. So this is another type of prompt that's really useful, especially in email marketing campaigns, newsletters, but also when it comes to sales messages. This is also something that you can use and tweak it around with things like, write a conversion-focused email subject line for this sales email, or write a subject line that ensures the recipient will reply, and so on. Oh, this is a longer prompt. I put it in here because, especially for SEO, there are a lot of technicalities you need to check. So first of all, you can make sure that ChatGPT accesses the latest rules from Google. You know, Google changes the rules and the algorithm quite often. So first of all, you need to have this link at hand. You will have it when I send the presentation, but you can periodically search for it and make sure that these evaluator guidelines are up to date. So make sure you put that into the prompt before. And then one interesting thing you can do, put a link to your own article and search for the keyword that you would like to have it indexed for. In my case, I put here AI for customer segmentation. That was the topic of my or NNC's major article. And I looked on Google to see what other articles appear best into searches. And I found this one on LinkedIn Pulse, this one from RINF, and this one from Aspiration Marketing. And I put here a prompt asking that based on the Google guidelines, I would like to get some input on how I can refine my own article in order to become more specific and better indexed into Google. And another one, which is one of my favorites, and I'm actually gonna showcase this one. Just a second. I would like to show it to you just to see how you can get something in the format of a table, and that's really easy to use and to copy paste into another spreadsheet. So I want you to do some research for me, act as an expert Instagram social media marketer. Tell me 10 frustrations, 10 desires, and 10 fears that, and I'm gonna include my target account. In my case, we're talking about marketing managers in B2B software companies, experience with their area of focus. So for instance, I'm trying to sell some content services, and I'm gonna put content in here. And there you go. And here it starts putting it out into the format of a table. And here you go, you have a lot of content for about 1 month of social media posts, but that's really, really very specific to their fears, frustrations, desires. I would strongly recommend you to share this prompt with the people who are producing content in your company. This is really one way to stand out from the crowd in the online, on the social media. And now I'm going to pass the mic to Daniel, but before that, just let me check the chat window to see whether there are some other questions. I see Loredana has already addressed many of them. Thank you.
The question was, should sensitive protected corporate information used for context or examples be used, or does ChatGPT later use this data for responses to others? Does the paid version protect this information? I can answer that you can opt out for training ChatGPT. So in settings, you have an option, but checking off that option also means that you won't be able to see your chat history if you do that. But maybe Oana has more context if she wants to add to this.
Yeah, I'm really very cautious when it comes to security and sensitive information. And I would say that, and not just with ChatGPT, in general, whatever you are posting online, it's out there. So if it's really sensitive and confidential, I would strongly encourage you to not put it into ChatGPT, or actually not share it anywhere online. Maybe you can find some workarounds around it and just, you know, give like the essence or something that doesn't make it, you know, so easily to target or to find. You know, there are some famous cases of corporations and leaks that went out, you know, codes that shouldn't have been out there. So the risk is there if you have, you know, your gut is saying that this shouldn't be out there, then you shouldn't use it. Daniel, let's
indeed.
move to the sales part.
Yeah, I think this is the most interesting part for many of our attendees over here, especially because I see that I think everybody's stuck around until now. So happy to share a few of my techniques. And coming back to the question that we had earlier, well, a simple answer would be, why not ask ChatGPT, to be honest, and pick it up from there. When we're talking about techniques for lead generation pertaining to a specific domain or any type of activity to generate new business, clearly I would put this question in the chat panel in ChatGPT, analyze the answer, and then customize it as much as possible, taking each technique on its own and developing from that. And specifically for that, I have devised a few slides over here and a few prompts that I use, and for the sake of personalization, I have left them in a generic mode, but we're going to try and personalize them while I showcase them. And clearly, this all started while by me looking at my activity for sales and lead generation, and also asking ChatGPT what I can do to improve that and what other techniques are out there for generating new business. And one of the techniques for me would be to conduct a survey for lead generation. And this survey would be directed either to a database of contacts that I already have, or clearly directed to a few persons that I select, or just putting an ad over there, or a boost on a social media post for people to get engaged and fill out my survey. And based on that information, clearly I can then approach them on a one-by-one matter. Okay, so first prompt that I would like to use would be the survey generation, and I have the prompts over here in a document. I will just paste them into ChatGPT. Let me know if you can see my ChatGPT right now.
Yep.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Okay. So based on specific criteria such as age, gender, location, could you provide me with, I will say, just 10 survey questions for lead generation in, let's say, IT. As you can see, it has already started to develop the questions, and clearly, like I said before, these can all be customized and personalized depending on your industry, niche, customer profile, things like that. As soon as it has finished with the questions, I want to go even further and ask it that after I conduct this survey based on the questions that he provided, I want to do more. So after conducting a lead generation survey in IT, clearly I can say also I can, after conducting the lead generation survey, could you help me develop a follow-up strategy that includes let's say email or phone call and specific topic or product that could be interested to potential leads. So we're in digital marketing, and let's say website rebranding, okay, to potential leads. There we go. So it's going to be giving me tips and pointers and clearly how I can further nurture that database of prospects, because that's my interest, clearly, after conducting the survey, to follow up with them and see exactly how I can segment, how I can properly direct my messaging towards the service that I'm trying to push to them. Once again, feel free to correct ChatGPT, feel free to customize the results and your requests to it, and tell it to go more in depth or adapt to your products or services as soon as you get the reply.
Daniel, sorry to interrupt. You have a question from Mihai. He's asking, how can he add the menu with output in tone, the one that you have it right there?
Sorry, could you repeat that? I didn't.
So how can he add the menu with output in English, tone, default, writing style? Okay, so this should be available in your ChatGPT panel by default, and if it's not, I think on the paid version, yes.
On the paid version, yeah. If it's not, it's probably because at the beginning they were allowing it into the 3.5 version as well. If it's not, it's only available in the paid version. Okay. Another prompt that I want to use over here would be to customize this lead generation service for this specific product or service, like I was telling you. So website rebranding, by providing by providing 5 questions that are relevant to, let me see, what can I put here? Millennials. And also highlight any potential challenges in generating leads for this product or services. As Oana was telling you earlier, in the matter of challenges and generating leads, clearly you can also ask it to simulate a negotiation, simulate a debate between the ups and downs of doing, for example, a website rebranding or any type of service or product that you're thinking about. As you can see, these are custom questions, so they are related to the service that I'm providing, and also they are meant to target a specific persona, like millennials, for example, value authenticity, and maybe skeptical of traditional marketing tactics, and so on and so forth. Okay. So surveys would be a technique to generate and target your excuse me, your contacts or your prospects better. how about doing a competitor research and see exactly how are other companies doing in your industry, and where are they located, just to know exactly what are they doing, and how you can better address these techniques to learn from them and clearly make them your own. So I'll be going back to ChatGPT, and I will be using this prompt. This is always useful, exactly like when I was showcasing earlier. Doing some research on competitors is always a good thing, whether you're talking about developing content, adapting your SEO or ads techniques to what is out there in the market, and clearly even for lead generation. And so at the beginning, I just started with ChatGPT by asking it, when I first started using it, give me 10 similar companies, or give me a few IT companies in a specific part of the world, or things like that I can target. And then I went even more in depth with asking it to do a research on this potential prospects for me. So I will ask it to give me 5 top competitors in, let's see, I will put over here digital marketing, in terms of, let's see, services. What are the top competitors in the digital marketing space? Let's put Romania. Let's see exactly. So as you can see, whenever you're doing, we're asking it to do a little bit of research, it's gonna go browsing, and that's available clearly for the ChatGPT paid version. As you can see, we are very transparent, and we can see a few of our competitors over here, examples, and the top that ChatGPT provided, and we can learn from that. Clearly, there's always enough room under the umbrella for everybody, and we can all be better at doing our jobs and at servicing our customers clearly. And it gives you the sources clearly, and you can go and check for yourself and see exactly. Once again, like when I was commenting earlier, to check your facts and check that whether it is hallucinating or not. Incidentally, I know this company, so it's right now. But you can always check for yourself. Another prompt that I like to use is untapped markets. I want to know if I can further develop my lead generation strategy, being that we have our offices mostly in Romania, but also in a few parts of the world where we target customers or prospects from there. Maybe I want to see exactly what's happening in the US, where we have an office. So let's see other markets or competitors haven't explored yet, and what specifically captures should we use to reach these markets. Again, it's doing a little bit of research, and if I don't have something in mind, like US or any other part of the world, is going to give me a few pointers, and what should I do to target these markets, and clearly what types of services I could push to these markets that my competitors have not been so active on pushing these services. As you can see, it's important to integrate these trends into our strategy, and see exactly, and always be on top of our competition, and see exactly how we can better adapt our services to generate the results that everybody's waiting for. Competitor research, and then after I've done this, as you can see, on my last prompt, I wanted to give me a few lead capture strategies that I should use to reach these markets. And clearly, lead capture forms can be used for any type of new business generation activity, and you can insert them into your landing pages. You can add them to a chatbot on your website, or clearly you can use them into your email outreach campaign or other type of outbound campaigns. So I'm going to go back to ChatGPT. I'm going to copy my prompt. I will put over here 5 best practices for creating lead capture forms that increase conversions. Let's see. For website, clearly, or your website. Like I said, in the presentation that you will receive after the webinar, you will find these prompts in a generic mode, but feel free to customize them to your own needs. Talking about customization, I can also use this prompt. What are, for example, 5 essential form fields that should be included in a lead capture form for maybe an event registration? And again, feel free to customize it and put your event to the link over there, and you will see as it adapts. It adapts according to what you're going to present during the event, clearly. So we will have full name, email address, company, organization, job title, role. As you can see, these are techniques that we've also used when we tried to promote this event. So clearly, don't think that we are tech gurus or marketing gurus. We also learn every day, and clearly ChatGPT has been revolutionary in this area. If I want to use, I don't know, maybe a specific tool or a plugin to develop these lead capture forms, I can even ask ChatGPT to give me a few examples. Clearly, can you recommend any tool, plugin to make the process of developing a lead capture form more user-friendly, particularly for, let's say, WordPress being the most common CMS out there? And again, it has some information, it's doing research, and we have a few options to develop those lead capture forms depending on how tech savvy are we, and depending on our needs, clearly. Moving on, for generating leads, as I said earlier, every salesperson and every company has their own techniques, and we try to adapt, and clearly we use them depending on the purpose of our campaigns. For this particular example, I mentioned email campaigns for lead nurturing. And of course, ChatGPT has been an amazing personal assistant, to say so, just to help me come up with catchy email messages and catchy unique selling propositions, or just making it easier to convince that prospect to jump on a quick call and talk more about their needs and also how we can best support them. I will go back to ChatGPT. I'll take my prompt, my document, I'll paste it. Targeting, let's say, small business owners. Okay. In US, go even more personal. I'm trying to drive website traffic, maybe. Yeah, why not? because maybe I'm writing an email message where I invite them to follow a link on our website for a special promo that we have, for a special event that we have. Drive website traffic to _services.com, and my message revolves around let's say lead generation, because we do provide this service for our customer as well. I want to make sure that the subject line includes a specific keyword and is no longer than 50 characters or examples like that. So includes special promo and is no longer than 50 characters, because sometimes we have some constraints. Maybe you're going to use an email sender automation platform like MailChimp or things like that, and you have some restraints over there, and you want to just be sure that your email is going to land safely in the inbox of your prospects, clearly. As you can see, it has learned from my prompt that I'm considering lead generation as the service that I'm trying to push, the persona that I'm targeting, and the geography. As you can see, I have a few subject lines. Okay, more than that, more than subject line, because this is the main thing that actually makes me also open an email. Clearly, I want the body of these emails to be generated, or I want the help of ChatGPT to help me generate the body of these emails. I can then go here and just ask it, okay, develop some develop email messages for each of the subject lines provided above. As you can see, it's going to take each subject line and develop an email message. And further on, again, you can customize it and edit it to meet your needs. What do I do after I send these people these email messages? Clearly, I will follow up. What do I need for that? I need follow-up templates, follow-up email messages. Clearly, I will ask ChatGPT to develop these messages as well. And I have a prompt for that. As soon as it's gonna finish, I will paste my prompt to nurture my leads, okay? Follow-up emails, topics that build trust or establish expertise. Okay, let's pick up build trust. Okay, I will add at the beginning for these emails, these outreach emails mentioned above, I need to write a series of follow-up emails to nurture my leads. I will ask ChatGPT to suggest some topics to cover that, and build trust, establish expertise. I will just delete this. Okay. Again, we can select things like target audience, demographics. For now, we're not going to go into that. I'm just going to leave this here. I want to make sure my messages are friendly and catchy. As you can see, I'm going to have a few techniques and also ways to follow up on these people, and clearly I can develop this and ask ChatGPT to give me examples for all these techniques, just to make sure that I'm not bothering my prospect. That's an advice that I would like to give you today. Whenever you're following up, try to, especially if you're just cold outreaching to a prospect, try to give them some informative, try to sell, you know, not just to sell, just to sell and help that person as well, because this builds trust, and this makes you not look as a typical salesman in the eyes of your prospect, and clearly makes your prospect understand that you're always and also doing a research on their website, on their industry, on their potential needs, in our case in digital marketing services, and you're not just there to push some services around them. We're always inviting people to download our free ebooks, and we're clearly doing our part to educate the market, and that's pro bono, and is always going to be pro bono. I also have a favorite lead generation prompt, and it also regards it's in regards to an outreach campaign via email, and it talks about creating an email that will encourage my leads to take some action. Okay, so maybe I'm promoting a special offer, again, a special event that we're conducting, things like that, to download an ebook, and I want to have an email selected around that. Okay, I'm gonna paste my prompt over here, as you can see. So my prompts are shorter, some are longer. It all depends how many information I want how much information I want to give to ChatGPT, or how custom I want to get. There's no golden rule for that, particularly for lead generation. Just try and analyze the results that you're getting, and if you feel that it's complicating your life by complicating, make it shorter, or just adapt it to fit your needs. Okay, so here I want my leads to register for a webinar. The email should be okay, let's put urgent, and highlight the benefits of taking the action. My target audience is business owners, and I want to make sure the email is no longer than 300 words. Nobody likes long emails, right? Okay, take actions such as register for a webinar on. You can clearly insert over here the landing page of your event. And as you can see, if I want to further pursue this database of contacts or prospects that I have, and convince them to register for a webinar, or convince them to download an ebook, convince them to book a meeting with me, I can always ask ChatGPT to, as you can see, develop an email. And just because I said that this is urgent, the subject line already starts with last chance. Okay, it's adapting the message to the persona that I instructed it. Okay, why attend, webinar details. Clearly you can customize it over here, but as you can see, you have call to actions, you have already the links inserted, and this is also made, like I asked it, to be under 300 words. Well, now, this has been my presentation for today. I am always here for any type of question that you may have, and also during the webinar over here, let's be as interactive as possible. I'm more than happy to share my know-how and showcase the prompts and even tools that have made my life easier over here at NNC.
Thanks, Daniel. It's been amazing. We have some questions in the chat pane. Me and Oana supported already with some answers, but maybe, participants would like to hear your thoughts on it.
Of course.
So can you prompt Get to create slides for a presentation like Google Slides? And if yes, can you use a template to fill it in?
Okay. So if you can use a template to fill in. Yeah, clearly, exactly like what I was saying, there are other tools that can be that are built for this, like Gamma, and you can also do it in ChatGPT. What I do is start with ChatGPT and adapt along the way. I want to know exactly whenever you have a question, and this is a good tip that I can offer. Whenever you have a question about ChatGPT's capability, clearly, as I said before, feel free to paste it in the chat panel, and you will see if there is a solution for that as well. Because one thing that I can tell you, they are adding new features every day. You can do it in ChatGPT, but it's best that you go outside. There are a lot of tools right now that can create an entire presentation just based on your topic brief.
Yeah, and there are also a lot of plugins available you can integrate with. And dedicated tools, but there is a plethora of tools out there. So
Yeah.
it's a matter of testing and seeing what goes best for your processes. Ideally, if you want to move this at scale, so what we've just shared with you is, on a daily basis, what marketing and sales professional can use at hand. But if you would like to make things by the book and actually integrate AI in a very clear manner and in a way that it makes sense for your organization, it's best to work with an AI consultant and first analyze your processes, analyze things like your budget availability and so on. And based on that, you can put into place some procedures, some processes for tools like ChatGPT, or find some very specific tools which are available for other activities. Like, for instance, in Daniel's case, or in sales activity, tools like Otter or Fireflies are very used when it comes to recording or taking notes into sales calls. And then you can use the notes generated by such tools and put them into ChatGPT and make a summary, an email summary you can use to follow up with your prospects. So obviously, that's something really, really useful. And another interesting use case for ChatGPT for salespeople is practicing negotiation. Like, for instance, once you have a proposal at hand and you have a clear profile of the person you are going to present that proposal for, you can actually ask ChatGPT to simulate a negotiation. And it was very interesting because we tested it and we saw that many of the questions we got from ChatGPT, we also got from the prospect later on. So I would strongly encourage you to use it for such types of exercises when it comes to sales specifically.
And the one, if I can add here and come back to the question, while I'm trying to develop the text for my presentation, I use ChatGPT. If I'm trying to develop graphics as well, I go to other tools, just to put it simply. And then we can also talk about templates and following guidelines and things like that.
Amazing, thanks. Another question, isn't there some limitations to this as ChatGPT version 4 is still up to date until April 2023? What's the alternative for trend searching other than organic searching? We also try to answer, but maybe you have some other thoughts on it, Daniel?
Is up to date until, what is the alternate for trend searching other than organic searching? Let me see exactly if you covered the answers that I was thinking about. GPT can do browsing. Yes, indeed. I will say that besides other generative language models, we also we also use Google. Clearly, Google has a service that offers you a view of trends, and you can even use some keywords exactly and some geography, like any type of part of the world, to see exactly what are people looking at over there, what are people searching. Even the name of our webinar was generated to that, looking at how are people trying to ask about these subjects that we wanted to address. And this is how we came up to how to prompt in ChatGPT for sales and marketing. Google Trends, that's the service that Google provides.
Amazing. We have another very interesting question. What's the best way to create an informative infographic? Do we use ChatGPT to create a prompt and then use it in the Midjourney? Yes, actually, I have to say that this is something we struggle with at the moment. I think it's a great idea for someone wanting to develop a tool about this. Shout out to one of my friends that's in IT, and I mentioned a few times this should be a tool. Maybe Oana or Daniel, you have some thoughts?
Yeah, there are some tools actually out there. One of them is PictoChart. However, there is this workaround. So if you don't use a dedicated tool like PictoChart, it's a good idea, like you said, Aya, just to use ChatGPT to generate the structure, a rough outline, to organize the information logically, and you can actually ask it to suggest visual elements, and then you can take the result, the output from ChatGPT, and use it into an image generator or a solution like Canva, for instance. Canva also has some AI, quite good AI capabilities. Like, for instance, you can choose a template and then use Canva's AI, inserting the output from ChatGPT to customize. So there are some workarounds. Like in this case with infographics, but in other cases, what we expect is to see in time some very niche and dedicated solutions for each task. So like Loredana said, it's a good opportunity for a new business idea. So we are still here.
You're on mute.
You're on mute.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was saying that we had a few good results by leveraging some good chat GTPSs, like the data analyst. It's a chat GTPS that's provided by OpenAI directly, but there's others up there that will provide you like some rough graphics, but then you can use one of the tools that Oana mentioned to nicely format this into a nice infographic. So hopefully that helps. But I have the same challenge, so I know, I feel you.
And we have another question from Jurek. Do you have any experience with prompting, asking ChatGPT about developing a campaign plan? The same question applies to developing a marketing strategy or go-to-market strategy. Oh, yes, we do. Many experience. So some of the prompts I shared with you earlier, and obviously you're going to get them in the follow-up email around market research. Those are very good for building, just a basic marketing strategy. What I can say in this case, you're going to need more than a prompt. Obviously, you're going to need to build an entire conversation if you would like to get something that's close to being put into practice. But there was a very interesting experiment I saw right at the beginning of ChatGPT's adoption. There were actually entrepreneurs who started using ChatGPT as their own advisor for building a business strategy, marketing or business strategy, and they actually built an entire business based on the advice they got from ChatGPT. So obviously, if you use it quite thoroughly and you put in there a lot of information or a lot of context, it can give you some very interesting ideas for a strategy. So definitely you can use it. You can use it especially with the plus version, with browsing in real time. Like for instance, you can put in there links to sample strategies that you like in terms of format or output, or put in there links to your competitors or to trends or studies, or actually ask ChatGPT to search for those. I would strongly recommend to take it step by step. So have a general framework for marketing strategy. And we actually do have available on nnCservices.com website some frameworks that we use, and then just take it step by step with things like, okay, first I need to research the market. Let's use ChatGPT to see what are the latest industry trends in this area. Then I need to define the buyer persona, and you can use some of the prompts I shared with you to define the buyer persona. Then I'd like to define the channels. Then here is my budget. So I need a strategy that's, adjusted to my budget and so on. So I would say it's obviously not something you will get with just one prompt, unless it's a very long one. I would say take it step by step and just move through iterations. Okay, let's see what else we have. Is it possible to write a 60 pages marketing booklet by just using a prompt? You have to put in a lot of information and a longer conversation with ChatGPT. Loredana, I know you have some experience with writing books.
Yes. I'm actually in the middle of rewriting one of our books that's been written a couple of times. I did train a ChatGPT on writing books, and what I noticed is that if in the initial prompt you tell it, I need 60 pages content, give me each chapter, or first of all, you have to set up like a framework, like the chapters and this topic and so on. But then if you tell it, give me one by one the content for each chapter, and it has to be minimum, I don't know, 5 pages, then it will break it down. But if, let's say, those 5 pages are longer than the number of characters and words allowed default in a chat, then ask it again, next, give me the next page, give me the next chapter. We just did a white paper, actually ebook based on this. I can paste the ChatGPT in here as well, that you can, the model you can leverage. Again, what's interesting is you can train your own model, because, for example, what works for me may not work for you. I'll just dig for it and paste it in here. Again, I would advise that you train your own GTPS or your own assistant if you're more advanced with using OpenAI. So hopefully this will help. And I'm gonna paste it in a sec here while you are talking about it. Okay. I think there's another question as well in the chat.
Yep.
Yeah.
What's the best tip when asking for a sales pitch?
We have another one from Oana.
Oh, there's another one besides that?
Yeah, let's address this one from Aya with the sales pitch. But Aya, can you clarify a bit? Are you asking about asking ChatGPT to build a sales pitch, or
you're requesting a sales pitch from a contact?
Yes, so asking ChatGPT to create a sales pitch. Okay. Say, first of all, it's important to provide very detailed information. So, be as specific as possible about the product or service.
The persona, yeah.
Yeah, give the context, indicate, where the pitch will be used. Is it for a website, or a brochure, an email, and so on. Perhaps give some competitor information. some customer insights, and a very clear call to action. Like what kind of call to action you want at the end of the pitch. So providing this information, you will definitely get a very good draft you can further customize on from ChatGPT. And by the way, this is available for everything we've mentioned. Always put extra, human refinement on everything you get from ChatGPT. So just take it as an initial, inspiration, and then try to adjust it further on. What else we have?
So Greg is asking if building long-term multifaceted ChatGPT-based strategies are complex. Can NNC services help build out these frameworks? Also, what are some impactful mistakes that have been created accidentally? First of all, yes, there's NNC can help with ChatGPT-based strategies. We understand it's complex. Especially because most of the people, if used on a very basic level, the message will be similar with anybody else that's using it on a very basic level. So you need to know more advanced strategies, and some of what Juan and Daniel shared are pretty basic. So yes, of course, we are available, and maybe Juan and Daniel will share their LinkedIn profiles if they haven't done it already in the chat pane. And are there any impactful mistakes that have been created accidentally? Even the first slides that Oana shared were some interesting mistakes. First of all, I learned that DALL-E now is able to write. We're in the, let's say, impactful mistakes discovery mode. That's most of the but please don't let AI content or products or outputs live in the wild. So do review them, make it your own, make sure they have what you want in there. I would not, just let an AI talk for me. Maybe
Not
one.
yet. Not yet.
Not yet, yeah. Well said.
So I just put into the chat window and also has Daniel our LinkedIn profile and also a link to our meetings agenda. So feel free to connect or just book time directly into our calendar. We're glad to help and provide some free advice on whatever you need and share more from our experience and see how we can help.
Okay.
So we still have some time if you guys have any more questions. We also had some questions that we received from people who registered before. And I can put some of those on the screen for people who are still staying over hours. Like for instance, can ChatGPT analyze my website? So the prompt I shared with a screenshot that you can definitely use with every section of your website, every landing page, just copy paste those screenshots into ChatGPT and ask it to analyze it from a design perspective. When analyzing content, just include the links to the website you want to analyze and use a prompt with something like analyze this content from an SEO perspective, or analyze this content from a proofreading perspective. Or you can also make a comparison with perhaps some of your competitors, and if you include all the links it will be able to do that. Or also you can use benchmarks, even if they're not your competitor or from your industry. You can include the link from your website and the link from the benchmark and just ask ChatGPT to provide you with advice on how and what type of changes you need to do to your own website in order to become more like the one you want. So you can definitely use this. Obviously, this doesn't replace a copywriter that analyzes the content from a more thorough perspective, or a web designer or a web developer, but it does give you a good start or something you can further develop with the professionals in the area. Another, oh, this is a very interesting one. How do you get beyond the generic AI speak, like in today's fast-paced digital world? Or there was another one, Daniel, right? The one with, I hope my message finds you well.
Exactly. I hate that one.
So first of all, and this is like, you know, the very obvious answer, just ask ChatGPT not to do it. So before you do it, just say, don't use the generic AI speak, or don't use in today's fast pace. But obviously there are many. So in order to get something that's more human-like and less AI speak, first of all, what you can do is train it on some examples. Like if you already have a list with articles that were built by your team, by your copywriters, or for your company, by humans before, you know, just train it on those examples and make sure that it will use the same style and tone you are aiming for. So do a bit of training before you start asking for produced content. Try to follow the recipes we shared with you. So providing clear instructions and providing extra context. The more information, the more relevant information you bring, the more out of the box it will be and more specific. And try to include, you know, personal touches, like examples of tones or humor where appropriate. You can actually prompt it to make it sound more like something you would have written. So if you know you are more funny or more formal and so on, make sure you include those into the prompt.
Yeah, and even telling ChatGPT just like that, this is how I would have written it, or something like that.
And obviously there are tools coming out for that. There are, if you will search the web, you can find AI text humanization tools. So actually tools where you can copy paste the text generated from ChatGPT and ask them to convert it to a more human-like text. Another thing I recommend, use things like Grammarly or other grammar checkers and editors, and just take the text from ChatGPT and put it into such a tool. It adds an extra layer. As those of you who have used Grammarly know, there are some styles and tones settings in there that give you a bit of a twist. So add an extra layer. And last but not least, make sure you always do a human edit on it. In our case, for instance, as an agency, we usually use tools just, you know, for starters or in the research phase, or just to have an initial draft. But we always include, you know, human iterations or human input from our customers. There is nothing more valuable than that, especially in a world full of AI text. So a testimonial from a customer, or a quote, or something that's really human produced cannot be replaced by any AI generated text. And let's see, how can ChatGPT help me leverage LinkedIn Sales Navigator effectively? I think this one is for you, Daniel.
Yep, for sure. I have been using ChatGPT to either target, develop my messages, craft some interesting ideas or unique selling propositions whenever I'm conducting some campaigns on LinkedIn Sales Navigator. And clearly you can use ChatGPT to identify some leads, and you have prompts for that, like, I don't know, generate a list of industries or job titles that match my my ideal customer profile that I have already fed into the panel for this targeted search on LinkedIn Sales Navigator, and it will build me that list. I can, like I said, I can use it to create these messages. So I can simply prompt craft a personalized connection request message for, I don't know, senior marketing manager in the tech industry, for example, which I'm targeting, to highlight our expertise in digital marketing or things like that. Use ChatGPT to develop follow-up messages, email strategy prompts, ask it to suggest a strategy for effective email messaging that, I don't know, maybe balances professionalism and personalization. It's aimed at decision makers and has this purpose, for example. You can qualify these leads to using ChatGPT. Once you have them, just to ask ChatGPT to list some key questions to include in these LinkedIn conversations that you can also automate with the help of agencies like us.
And I think this one is also for you, Daniel. I think you've touched upon it in your presentation, but maybe just to do a quick recap.
Yes, so how to use AI in prospecting and how to use it to support day-to-day tasks. Like I was mentioning before, you can use ChatGPT to identify some prospects. So you can simply prompt, identify potential leads from a database of companies or from this website or from this industry on specific criteria, like, I don't know, company size, location, things like that. You can use it, as shown before, to draft emails, to enrich your data. You can use it to ask it to cross-reference and update your CRM data with additional information that you can find online. This in regards to day-to-day tasks. You can do analysis of competitors, or even design some questions or a set of questions and answers to use for your chatbot that you can implement on your website and clearly use that to generate more leads. The possibilities are endless, to say so. And yes, it has, for me personally, it has been a very trusty personal assistant into my day-to-day tasks.
Thank you, Daniel. Let's see what else we have. By the way, in the meantime, if you have some other questions, just use the chat window. What are some of the risk, potential errors, and methodologies for validating information? Okay, this is very interesting. I think we've touched a bit the subject. Some of the risks and potential errors. So, well, first of all, in terms of security, and there was a question around that, confidential information, sensitive, critical, shouldn't be put out there. Second, there is this hallucination risk that appears less when it comes to ChatGPT Plus, but it's very common, especially in the free version. So there is that risk. That's why it's important to cross-check, and here come the methodologies for validating information. You know, a human analysis and human edit on top, that's very important. Also cross-checking with Google search, that's also important. There are some tools out there that check plagiarism, proofreading, and so on. So make sure you have all these filters into place and you juggle along with them. What else? There are risks of misinterpreting the request, and here come, you know, the exercise and the experience you have with prompting. Sometimes you think like you've requested for something, but you weren't as clear. Well, this happens in real life as well with communication. So make sure you review the prompt. If you see that the output is not where you expected, make sure you had a good approach on the prompt. And yeah, I think that's about it. I don't know, Daniel or Adana, would you like to add on that?
think you covered. I don't know if Loredana has anything else to add.
No, I think it's fine. We've mentioned before as well, so it's good. Thanks.
Yep.
Yeah, and obviously, when you don't have the expertise, always look out for consultants or experts who can help you. Us in particular, this is our key niche in marketing and sales, and we've used AI tools for most of the processes around marketing and sales. So we are really eager to help you and support you with whatever challenges you have. So I guess that's about it. Oh, let's see. I thought we had another question, but we have a thank you. Thank you as well, guys. You've been such a great crowd, and many of you have stayed up till the end. Connect with us on LinkedIn, and just use our meeting links. We'll follow up with you by email with all the resources we had into this presentation, into this webinar, and looking forward to have you again. By the way, pretty soon, Loredana will host another webinar. Loredana, would you like to quickly share the topic?
Sure. So on popular request, I put together a webinar which we held before, but it's time for a refresh. So it's about going to US with your business, how to market and sell, how to be able to expand to US or other Western countries and markets in an agile manner. This is something we've done for a lot of customers and companies, and we are happy to share some of our experiences. But it's also relevant to perhaps startups or scale-ups that want to start attracting attention and awareness in the US market. So
okay, thank you all very much. And we'll keep in touch. Looking forward to seeing you all at another webinar.